Good morning, Leesville Road High School students, and welcome to some information about the 2025-2026 class registration process. We realize that second semester has just started a couple weeks ago, but it's that time of year where we need to go ahead and start choosing your classes for next school year. So please pay attention to this information. Let's first talk about the registration timeline. So your teachers from first semester and your current teachers are beginning to put in recommendations for your classes for next year, what level they think you should take or encourage you to take. Of course, you need to talk about that with your parents, talk about it with your teachers, and decide what level of classes you would like to take. Of course, we always encourage students to challenge themselves as much as possible and to take the classes that are going to most challenge them and best prepare them for life after high school. So you can check those recommendations in your PowerSchool account. So today is February the 12th, and you're receiving the registration information here in your homeroom. Next week's going to be a big week. You will actually start putting your classes into PowerSchool during homeroom starting next week, February the 19th. You probably won't finish. Some of you may finish, but PowerSchool will be turned on next week for you to go ahead and start putting in your class selections for next year. So you're going to need to do some preliminary work in order to do that, and we'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. Starting on February the 24th, the counselors will begin meeting with students in room 3 to help you select your courses and also give you some information about your credits, your transcript, etc. So when you come to the meeting in room 3, you need to make sure to bring your Chromebook, because before you leave that room, you are going to put all your classes into the computer for next year. We're doing this a little bit earlier than we'd have in the past, but when you meet with your counselor, before you leave the room, you will have entered your classes into the computer. The teachers will finalize their recommendations for you on March the 7th. This is more of an issue for teachers who you have just started with a couple weeks ago, and they might want to change their recommendation. So after we meet with everybody and do a little cleanup, we'll give you an opportunity the last week of March to make changes to your course selections for next year. Okay, again, I'm going to reiterate that you will have to enter your classes into your PowerSchool. Hopefully you use PowerSchool on a regular basis. If not, you need to make sure that you can log in and sign into your account. And anybody here at the school, any staff member can help you reset your account. Because again, when you come to meet with your counselor in room 3, you will be entering your classes into PowerSchool before you leave that room. A couple things to keep in mind here. So you have to pick 8 primary classes and 4 alternates. We call primary classes the classes that you are most interested in taking, and most times this includes the classes you need to graduate. So you'll have to pick 8 and 4 alternates. Alternates are classes other than your 8 main choices that you wouldn't mind taking if some of your main elective choices don't work. Seniors who are looking to graduate mid-year or want to have release time next year will be allowed to enter fewer than 8 classes. When we do the scheduling, you will receive your core graduation classes, but electives are not guaranteed to be received. So that's why you need to make sure you will be content with any combination of classes you receive, because changing things after schedules are put out in August might be difficult. Another thing to keep in mind when picking your classes is making sure that you have a good balance between school and your life. Many of you are really busy. You work, you play sports, you're in clubs. And so you need to keep that in mind. If you're very busy outside of school, maybe your workload here at school doesn't need to be that hard. So depending on what your life is like, you need to make sure you don't overwhelm yourself with taking too many difficult courses. Another thing that some people don't do is you're not knowledgeable about the class you're going to pick. Make sure that you know what the class actually is before you sign up to take it. Do some research. There's lots of resources on the school's website that will be posted soon under registration for you to read descriptions of the courses. Talk to teachers, talk to your friends about what the class is if they took it. Make sure you know what you are picking before you pick your classes. There are some classes that require an application, which means you have to apply to be in it, and they are listed here. We have newspaper with Mr. Brewer, yearbook with Ms. Tabron, early childhood education with Ms. Kennedy, PEPI with Mr. Wiss, CTE internships, that's done with Ms. Andrews, and if you want to take an advanced study CTE class, then you will need to speak to the teacher of that subject area. So those teachers will be putting out information about how to apply, how to look for their application, and when it is due. So keep that in mind if you're interested in any of these classes. Many of the arts classes, especially the upper level arts classes, do require an audition. So if you're looking to be in the upper level area of an arts class, make sure you talk to the teacher to see when the audition is and how the auditions work. So classes that require an application or an audition, you can sign up for them and put them in PowerSchool. But if you are not accepted or don't get into that class, you will be removed from that class and put in one of your alternates. So make sure you follow up with anything that requires an application or an audition. Just a real quick on the checklist here. You're going to log into PowerSchool and look at your teacher recommendations. Talk with your teachers about their recommendations. You're going to look at graduation requirements. You're going to look at the course list. And then when you meet with your counselor, you're going to enter your classes into PowerSchool. Again, you will be able to start putting your classes in on the 19th during homeroom if you wish to. But before you leave the counselor room, room 3, when you meet with your counselor, you will have entered your classes into PowerSchool. You've been given a packet of information today. In there you've got registration timeline along with some other topics. Again, the registration checklist, what it takes to graduate from high school, list of the classes we are going to teach, a suggested sequence of how you take the graduation requirements, so like what comes after certain classes, what you take next. And there's also an AP class sequence chart in there as to when it's best for you to take certain AP classes. That's all in your registration packet. So the counselor meetings will start with on the 24th of February. Juniors go first, sophomores, and then freshmen. You will get a pass the morning of your appointment from your first period teacher to come to room 3 sometime during that day. We typically do the meetings during first and second period only. And again, they will take place in room 3, which is in between the student services office and the attendance office. In this meeting, you will get a copy of your transcript, a registration graduation credit plan worksheet, a class selection form, a course list, which you already have a copy of today, and then you will enter your classes into your PowerSchool account before you leave room 3. So since you're going to be putting your classes into the computer with your counselor when you meet with them, it's going to be really important for you to have already thought about what you want to take and talked about it with your parents, and gotten their input on what you want to take, because when you come to room 3, we're expecting you to put those classes into the computer. Now keep in mind, we will give you an opportunity the last week of March to make changes to what you picked. But coming to that meeting with your 8 classes and your 4 alternates already in mind is going to make things go much quicker and smoother. So thank you for your time this morning. Look over the registration packet, and we will be back next Wednesday, February the 19th, and for a short video that will talk about how you put your classes into the computer and a few other registration items.